Good morning. My mom and I are here at the Beaver Meadows trailhead, located inside Rocky Mountain National Park. And today, we're going to go for Beaver Mountain. And it shouldn't be too hard. I think we're looking at about 2.6 miles out with just over a 2,000 foot elevation gain. And this isn't a very busy trailhead. As you can see, we're the only ones up here right now. Official start time, 5:40. And just past the trailhead sign, there's a split in the trail. And going to the right is just a tad bit shorter. So that's what we're gonna do. And after about 15 minutes of hiking, we're up here to the next trail split. And to the left will also lead back down to the Beaver Meadows trailhead. And that's the other half of this first little mini loop. And this is a pretty nice trail at the beginning. It's nice and groomed. You can hike pretty quickly on it. But we're picking up a few more rocks and roots as we go higher. Yeah, we're just waiting for that sun to pop out from around Deer Mountain. All right, and we've got the sunshine. And this is a really pretty trail. It's just covered with flowers all over the place. And when you're hiking on the Ute Trail, just off Trail Ridge Road up there, and you take it all the way out to Timberline Pass, and then the trail drops straight down, this is that trail. If you continue down, you would end up on this trail down here. And we've done that once before. We did a 2-car shuttle. And that was pretty fun, except my knee was hurting really bad that day, and I could not enjoy any of that downhill. Oh yeah, it hurt the whole time. And this trail isn't super steep, but we have been consistently going uphill. And all these burned trees up here are the result of the East Troublesome Fire in 2020. Yeah, it torched half this mountain. And we've got some turkeys off the trail. And a little baby turkey. Yeah, it looks like the mom is showing the baby turkey how to walk across the down logs. You do it just like this. We just crossed over 9,000 vertical feet, so we should be above the tick zone for the most part. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about them too much. And we've almost made it out to the next trail split. And in 52 minutes, we've made it out to the next trail split. And this is about 1.4 miles into the hike. So we've knocked out over half the distance, but we still got a little bit of gain to do. We're gonna take this right and start skirting it around the east side of Beaver Mountain. And in Lisa Foster's book, she says to stay on the trail all the way until you get out here somewhere. Then you want to start bushwhacking it up the edge. However, if you do that, you have to bounce it down and up, down and up. So instead, what we're going to do is split off right through here and take it straight to the summit. This is what I did last time, and it worked out nicely. And right here, just below 9,200, is where we're going to branch off and start bushwhacking it up. And from here up to the summit is going to be a grind. I think we're looking at a little over 1,300 feet up to the top. And this is my third time hiking Beaver Mountain. The first time I did it was before the fire, and I bushwhacked up through the trees. The second time I did it was after the fire, and this was all scorched earth dirt. And today we're getting the grass. Yeah, today is a lot prettier than last time I was out here. And we're grinding our way up the side of this thing. And it's not too hard. The terrain isn't that bad. And according to the GPS, I think we've got just under 1 mile up to the summit. Awesome views of Long's Peak on this hike. And they're just getting better as we go higher. Yeah, that mountain looks huge. Huge. And this thing is a wee bit of a grinder. And our next goal is to just stay on this ridge and take it up as high as we can. And then right there behind my mom is where we were last year. We took the trail up, kind of goes around the east side of Mount Wool right there. And then I had talked her into bushwhacking it over to Steep Mountain. And we're approaching 9,800 vertical feet, which means we've come up about 1,400 with roughly 700 more up to the summit. And we're getting up there. That is looking way down onto Moraine Park. And then out there at the end of it is Eagle Cliff Mountain. And the flowers out here are insane. The whole south side of this mountain is covered in them. Okay, I'm starting to remember this a little more now. I think it's going to get congested up here with a few down trees that we're going to have to navigate. And then I believe we re-enter the non-burned area and take it on up to the summit. It's just now 7:40, so we've been hiking for 2 hours. And we just hit 10,000 vertical feet, which means we have come up about 1,600 so far. And we've still got another half mile over to the summit with just over a 400-foot elevation gain. Whew. That's not too bad. I think we've knocked out like 800 vertical feet in the last half mile. So this should be about half as bad. And yep, this is exactly what I remember. We're gonna have to navigate all these down trees here for a second. But it's not too bad, and it's pretty short. And I think this is gonna be the worst part right here. Doesn't look too bad over here on the edge though. Oh yeah, we can get that. We've made it up into the trees. This is the non-burn section. And according to the GPS, we're still looking at about 4/10 of a mile over to the summit. However, we are at about 10,150. So I think we've got right around 300 more vertical feet up to the top. And we just hit 10,300, which means we're almost up there. We're almost there. And we're working our way across the top of the summit ridge. We're almost out there. I'd say about another 1/10 of a mile. Yep, that's the way. And that's looking over to the Mummy Mountains. Beautiful. And this summit is a lingerer. Lingers, man. Lingers. Yeah, if there's one thing I hate, it's lingering. Seriously though, if you didn't have a GPS, it'd probably be hard to know where the summit is, because you just keep coming up and over these humps up here. And you're like, oh yeah, this is the summit. Not. Oh, this next one's the summit. Not. But yeah, you need the GPS to help indicate where it's at, which is going to be right out here. I can see it. And this is going to be it right here. Summit of Beaver Mountain. Yes. It's just now 8:25 in the morning. So that took 2 hours and 45 minutes to get up here. All right. And there's the summit, Karen, marking the highest point. All right, Beaver Mountain. Boom, got it.
Got it.
And you know what time it is up here on Beaver Mountain? It's tea time. And these are some of the views from the summit of Beaver Mountain. We got some trees up here on the summit, so we can't get the full 360 pano. And we can actually see over there to Grace Falls too. It's right there in the middle of that little U shape of snow. And let's name some peaks. Starting left to right, we've got Mount Meeker, Long's Peak, Pagoda Mountain, Chief's Head Peak, McHenry's Peak, Powell Peak, Taylor Peak, Otis Peak, Hallett Peak, Flat Top Mountain, Knob Top, and Gable Top Mountain. And then there's a bunch of them down low, too many to name. And that is going to be Timberline Pass right up there. And you can hike to that on the Ute Trail, starting from Trail Ridge Road. That's not too hard of a hike at all. And this is looking up towards the Mummy Mountains, and I can see Mount Chiquita, Ypsilon Mountain, Fairchild Mountain, Hagues Peak, Mummy Mountain, and Bighorn Mountain. And then over here we've got Dark Mountain, McGregor Mountain, the Needles, and then that big one in the background is Storm Mountain. And then this is looking back across the summit ridge, and that's the way we hiked in. And when you get to the top of that, you think you're on the summit. However, that's not it. That's just a tad bit lower than where we're at right now. It's about 9:15, and we've been sitting up here on the summit of Beaver Mountain for about 50 minutes. But it's time to go. It's time to head on back. All right, let's do it. Let's take it on back. And we should knock some major time off on this descent. We're right where we want to be. We're on the route. And it helps to have a GPS coming down this, so you can hit this little bend in the trail and make sure you catch that ridge on the way down. Yeah, if you didn't have a GPS, it would be rather difficult to know where to curve over. And we nailed that coming down through the trees. This is exactly where we want to be. And this would make a good winter hike The only problem is that they closed that Beaver Meadows Road in the winter, so you'd have to hike all of that, which is going to add a couple miles in each direction. Have I ever mentioned how much easier it is to come down versus going up? I have. I've mentioned that before. Well, let me just reiterate it. It is. Yeah, we're screaming down this thing. We're going at least 2 times faster. And I think we need to name this the Goldilocks Ridge, because over here to the right, there are too many trees. And then over here to the left, there are too many bushes. But right here in the middle, it's just right. Just like Goldilocks. And the bears. The bears. We've made it through all the down trees, and the lower we go, the easier this should get. And in an hour and 10 minutes, we've dropped it down 1,300 vertical feet from the summit, and we've made it back down to the trail. All right, we're gonna hit the left and take it on back down to the trailhead. Looking at about 1.4 more miles. And it looks like we're hiking by the same 3 turkeys that we saw on the way up. Yep, they've even got the little babies with them still. Little baby turkeys. And we just passed by the trail split, and we did not take the right to complete the loop, because that went through the open meadow and we would have got a lot more sun through there. So we decided to stay up here in the trees where it's a little more shaded. All right, and we're back. Beaver Meadows Trailhead. It is just now 11:15, so that took us 2 hours to come down. Took us 2 hours and 45 minutes to get up there, 2 hours to come down. And that's going to be about 5.2 miles in total, with roughly a 2,100 foot elevation gain. All right, Beaver Mountain. Boom, got it. Well, we hope you enjoyed that hike. And until the next one, y'all, peace.